come full steam ahead 100 mile an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 mile an hour. There's two things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 mile an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided...
Stop scrolling. Right now. Because whatever boxing debate you thought you were done having just got smashed through the table like a WWE pay-per-view nobody warned you about. This wasn't just a fight. This wasn't just Jake Paul stepping into grown man territory. This was the exact moment the internet collectively gasped, then Joe Rogan said the quiet part out loud. He broke his face. Not whispered, not debated. Said with the kind of shock you hear when someone sees something they can't unsee. The punch hadn't even finished echoing before timelines detonated. Clips flew. Group chats caught fire. And suddenly everyone wasn't arguing if Jake Paul belonged in the ring anymore, they were arguing whether he just walked into a heavyweight. Reality check with his name engraved on it. This wasn't analysis. This felt like a leak. Like Rogan reacted before the PR teams could plug the hole. 1 second, you're watching a fight. The next second, it feels like someone accidentally aired the raw, unfiltered truth. Fans froze. Critics panicked. Supporters went silent. Because when Joe Rogan reacts like that, it's never casual. It's instinct. And instinct doesn't lie. This wasn't just a loss. It felt like a turning point. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. The moment the bell rang, the internet leaned forward like it already knew something was about to go wrong. Not dramatic, wrong, historic wrong. This wasn't another Jake Paul spectacle with influencer seasoning and manufactured tension. This was heavyweight reality stepping into the frame, boots first, and daring the hype to survive. And for a split second, it looked like confidence might carry the day. Then, Anthony Joshua reminded everyone what gravity feels like. Let's rewind, because context is the oxygen of chaos. Jake Paul didn't just wake up one morning and wander into a heavyweight orbit. This was years of calculated moves, carefully selected opponents, controlled environments, and a storyline built brick by brick to suggest inevitability. The marketing was loud. The confidence was louder. And the internet, as always, was split between believers, haters, and people who just wanted to see what would happen if the balloon met a needle. Anthony Joshua wasn't part of the influencer ecosystem. He was the ecosystem's extinction event. Olympic pedigree, championship scars, real rounds against real monsters. This wasn't clout boxing. This was a man who has felt the ring shake and learned how to stand back up when it tried to swallow him. And when those two worlds collided, the tension wasn't just physical, it was philosophical. Early on, Jake looked composed, guard high, feet moving. The crowd buzzed like they wanted to believe the fairy tale might survive another chapter. Every feint felt loaded. Every step forward drew a gasp. But then the air shifted. Joshua's patience wasn't passive, it was predatory. The kind that waits, measures, and then ends conversations. The punch that changed everything didn't need slow motion to feel permanent. It landed with the kind of authority that makes sound disappear for half a heartbeat. Not flashy, not theatrical, just final. And that's when Joe Rogan reacted not as a commentator chasing a moment, but as a human being witnessing impact in real time. He broke his face. That wasn't analysis. That was instinct. The kind of thing you say when your brain hasn't had time to put on its filter. The phrase ripped through the broadcast like a shard of glass because it cut straight through debate. Suddenly, this wasn't about scorecards or future matchups. This was about damage. About reality crashing through the hype wall. The internet felt it immediately. Clips replayed faster than facts could catch up. People didn't ask what round it was. They asked if Jake was okay. That's a seismic shift. When the conversation jumps from who's winning to is he safe, the mood has officially changed. Sarcasm flooded in because that's how the internet processes shock. Jokes about boss fights, comparisons to final levels, memes suggesting Jake accidentally clicked hard mode. But beneath the humor was unease. The kind you can't laugh off because you know something real just happened. This was the moment the narrative cracked. For years, Jake Paul had lived in the gray zone between entertainer and athlete, daring critics to draw a clean line. That punch drew it for them, loudly, permanently. You could almost hear the internet recalibrating, adjusting expectations in real time. Rogan's reaction kept echoing because it felt unauthorized, like something slipped past the gatekeepers. Broadcasters are supposed to smooth edges, soften language, keep the spectacle digestible. Rogan did the opposite. He named the damage, and naming it changed how everyone saw the fight. Fans who came in expecting chaos got something heavier. Supporters went quiet, not out of embarrassment, but out of concern. Critics didn't celebrate, they nodded. Because this wasn't a punchline. This was a consequence. The background noise of boxing discourse surged. Old arguments resurfaced. This is why weight classes matter. This is what experience looks like. Isn't a game. And suddenly the influencer. Boxing era felt like it had hit a wall with a warning label taped to it. Joshua's demeanor afterward didn't help soften the blow. Calm, respectful, unbothered, the kind of calm that only comes from certainty. He didn't posture. He didn't gloat. He looked like a man who did exactly what he expected to do. That contrast made everything sharper. Jake's resilience became the new talking point, but it was a different tone than before. Less bravado, more scrutiny. The praise sounded cautious, respectful, but restrained. Like everyone realized the stakes had just doubled. And Rogan's phrase kept circulating. Short, brutal, impossible to misinterpret. It became shorthand for the moment hype met consequence. People didn't even need the clip anymore. They just said the words, and everyone knew. This wasn't the end of the fight conversation. It was the beginning of a reckoning. About matchmaking. About ambition. About how far confidence can carry you before physics steps in by the time the dust settled. One thing was clear. Something had shifted. Not just for Jake Paul, for the entire spectacle around him. The fight didn't just test skill, it tested the myth. And myths don't die quietly. The crowd may have gone home, but the internet stayed awake, replaying that moment, that phrase, that split second where everything changed. Because when reality lands clean, it leaves a mark. And once you've seen it, you can't pretend you didn't. The escalation didn't come from the ring, it came from the reaction. Because once Joe Rogan said those words, the fight stopped being a sporting event and turned into a cultural incident. The punch was already brutal, but Rogan's live reaction poured gasoline on it. That sentence didn't analyze the moment. It branded it. And once something gets branded online, it stops being debated and starts being remembered. Clips spread like a virus with a caffeine addiction. Not just the punch, the reaction. Rogan's voice. The disbelief. The bluntness. People replayed it over and over, like they were trying to process trauma through repetition. The internet loves slow motion, but this didn't need it. The phrase did all the work. For words that felt heavier than the punch itself, memes followed immediately. Because that's how shock turns into survival. Jake Paul photoshopped into boss fight screens. Health bars draining instantly. Difficulty level, heavyweight reality. People joked that Jake speedran the influence to consequence pipeline. The humor was savage, but it wasn't celebratory. It was nervous laughter wearing boxing gloves. Then the celebrity reactions rolled in not head-on, but sideways. Fighters didn't roast. They nodded. Retired legends posted cryptic messages about experience and patience. Analysts stopped arguing hypotheticals and started talking about anatomy. Jaw structure, power transfer, the science of getting hit by someone who's done it for a living. The tone shift was unmistakable. This wasn't Jake Paul lost. This was Jake Paul found the ceiling. And ceilings are terrifying because they don't care how popular you are. They don't move for algorithms. They just sit there, waiting. Public outrage didn't explode, sharpened. Fans who had warned against the matchup felt vindicated, but uneasy. Critics didn't dunk, they sighed. The collective mood wasn't joy. It was, we told you this wasn't a game. That's a different kind of reaction. Less loud, more final dot comparisons went nuclear. People said this was the boxing equivalent of an influencer trying to freestyle battle Eminem on live TV. Others compared it to a rookie quarterback walking into an NFL game against a defense that eats dreams for breakfast. Someone said it made celebrity boxing look like a TikTok filter that just wore off. Joe Rogan's name trended alongside the fight, which rarely happens unless something goes off script. Broadcasters aren't supposed to steal the moment from the fighters. But Rogan didn't steal it, he exposed it. He reacted like someone watching an accident, not narrating a performance. That rawness is why it stuck. Debate erupted about responsibility. Should this fight have happened? Was it brave or reckless? Was it ambition or hubris dressed in confidence? The comments split into camps, but even the defenders struggled to keep their footing. It's hard to argue fantasy after reality lands that clean. Jake's supporters pivoted fast. The narrative shifted from dominance to courage, from inevitability to resilience. And while that's a respectable pivot, it also revealed something uncomfortable: the original storyline couldn't survive impact. When narratives change mid-fight, it means the script broke. Narratives change mid-fight, it means the script broke. Anthony Joshua's silence during the chaos only amplified it. He didn't clap back, didn't mock, didn't chase the moment. That restraint made the contrast louder. One side trending for reaction, the other trending for consequence. Silence can be devastating when it feels earned. Boxing purists use the moment like a megaphone. Long threads appeared explaining why weight classes exist, why experience compounds, why power isn't linear. This wasn't gatekeeping, it was an autopsy. And autopsies don't flatter the subject. The internet also turned on itself, questioning its appetite. People admitted they tuned in, hoping to see something shocking, and got exactly what they asked for. That realization made the spectacle feel heavier. Less fun, more sobering. Like laughing stopped being automatic, and through it all, Rogan's line kept resurfacing. Short, brutal, unavoidable. It became shorthand for the entire event. You didn't need to explain the fight anymore. You just said the words, and everyone understood the shift. By the end of the night, the fight had outgrown the ring. It wasn't about records or rematches. It was about a boundary being crossed and enforced. About hype meeting physics and not surviving the meeting. This phase of the story didn't feel like chaos. It felt like gravity asserting itself. And gravity doesn't argue. It just pulls. The aftermath didn't explode. Settled, heavy, quiet, unavoidable. The kind of silence that follows something irreversible. When the adrenaline fades and reality takes the wheel. The crowd dispersed, the lights went down, but the moment stayed wide awake. Because this wasn't just another fight result. This was a recalibration. Jake Paul didn't walk out broken, but the myth around him took a fracture you could hear. Not shattered, not erased, but cracked. and cracks change how things are handled. Fans didn't abandon him, but their tone shifted. Praise became cautious. Confidence turned conditional. The applause now came with footnotes. Supporters leaned into respect, narratives, courage, ambition, willingness to test limits. All valid, all real, but noticeably different from the pre-fight bravado. When the story pivots from dominance to bravery, it's a sign the ceiling has been acknowledged even if nobody wants to say the word out loud. Critics didn't gloat. That was the unsettling part. There was no victory lap, no pylon. Just a collective nod that said, "This is why the line exists." Boxing purists didn't celebrate, they exhaled. Relief mixed with concern. Because while the spectacle delivered, the wrist suddenly felt uncomfortably tangible. Anthony Joshua's reputation, meanwhile, didn't rise, solidified. He didn't gain myth. He reinforced reality. The performance didn't need commentary. It was clean, efficient, and almost clinical. The kind of outcome that doesn't trend for flair, but stays respected forever. He didn't chase headlines. He became the measuring stick again. Joe Rogan's reaction lingered longer than anyone expected. It became the quote of the night, then the phrase of the week, then the shorthand for the entire event. Analysts referenced it. Fans repeated it. Memes crystallized around it. The moment wasn't just seen, it was named. And naming a moment gives it permanence. The discourse around influencer boxing shifted subtly but permanently. Not canceled, not dismissed, just recontextualized. The conversation matured overnight. Matchmaking scrutiny increased. Risk tolerance dropped. People started asking harder questions about responsibility, not just entertainment. Behind the scenes, you could feel the industry recalibrating. Future matchups suddenly felt heavier on paper. Promoters talked about legacy more than spectacle. Commentators spoke about experience with renewed seriousness. When the tone changes at the top, it trickles down fast. Jake's next moves became the center of speculation. Does he step back? Does he double down? Does he pivot strategically? Every option felt louder now, riskier. Because the buffer of disbelief, the space where hype could operate unchecked, had narrowed, fans watched more closely, not less. Curiosity didn't fade. It sharpened. The audience wasn't done with Jake Paul. They were just done pretending the stakes were imaginary. That's a different kind of attention. Less forgiving. More demanding. The phrase, "this changes everything," gets thrown around recklessly online. But this time, it stuck. Not because of drama, but because of clarity. The fight drew a line that couldn't be blurred again. You can cross it, but you can't pretend it isn't there. What made the aftermath so powerful was the lack of spin. No viral apology tour. No manufactured outrage. Just absorption. Everyone involved seemed to understand that forcing a narrative would cheapen the moment. So the silence spoke, and in that silence, something settled into place. Boxing reclaimed a little gravity. Spectacle acknowledged consequence. And audiences were reminded that while entertainment can flirt with danger, danger doesn't flirt back. This wasn't the end of Jake Paul's story. It was a chapter shift. The moment where potential meets proof and has to renegotiate terms. Those stories don't end quietly, but they do change direction. The internet moved on, because it always does. But this moment didn't disappear. It embedded itself as a reference point, a cautionary tale, a reminder that confidence is powerful, but physics is undefeated. And when the next fight gets announced, this night will be in the room. In the questions, in the expectations, in the tone of every debate that follows. Because once reality speaks this clearly, it doesn't need to repeat itself. This wasn't a knockout of a man. It was a knockout of an illusion. And if you're still here, congratulations, you didn't just watch a fight. you witnessed a moment the internet will be arguing about for years. This wasn't background noise. This was one of those nights that redraws the map and dares everyone to pretend nothing changed. So, do me a favor and smash that like button like it personally doubted Jake Paul and then watched gravity prove its point. Don't tap it, politely hit it with heavyweight force. Every like tells the algorithm you want the unfiltered reactions, not the sugar-coated recaps pretending nothing serious happened. Drop your take in the comments too, because this debate is far from over. Was this bravery meeting reality? Was it ambition pushing too far, too fast? Or was this exactly what had to happen for the conversation to grow up? Say it loud. Say it honest. The comment section is where boxing arguments go to live forever. And if you're not subscribed yet, fix that immediately. Hit subscribe like you're locking in ringside seats for the next collision. Because this channel doesn't chase headlines after they cool off, we catch the shockwaves while they're still shaking the ground.